Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel and welcome back to another match of the Pacific Nations Cup 2023. This one, the Japanese taking on Samoa. Now, Japan, a side that weren't actually involved in the Pacific Nations Cup for 2022. Instead, it was Australia A. But now we get to see Japan in action once again after this series up against the All Blacks XV. Should be a very intriguing game. The Samoans, they have got a few debuts that will be taking place in this contest, really trying to build themselves momentum heading into that Rugby World Cup. But it's 22 degrees Celsius in Japan, a nice afternoon for a bit of rugby. I'm thoroughly looking forward to seeing who takes out the victory. Looking through at the starting lineups for these two sides, we will start with the Japanese side, and they will be as follows. It is Kita Ainagaki at number 1. Number 2, they have gone with Atsushi Sakate, one of the two co-captains in this match for Japan, and then it is Gu at number 3, who can be dangerous whether he starts or comes off the bench. He's done a bit of both throughout that All Blacks versus, or All Blacks XV series, I should say. So a great opportunity for him in this game. James Moore playing at number 4 with Amato Fakatava as the number 5. Now, he is a brilliant player, whether or not he's running the ball or whether he's trying to get that turnover in the line out. He is another one of those Japanese players that certainly cannot be underestimated. Jack Cornelison at number 6. Number 7, Kazuki Himeno. A few Kiwis still know him from his stint at the Highlanders in Super Rugby. And Michael Leach playing number 8. Now, I mentioned this in our lineups video. It was interesting to see that they went with Michael Leach as the number 8 rather than 6. So they've had quite a wee reshuffle there. Himeno also can play a little bit of 8 if he needed to. I think they're just a little bit blessed for choice in terms of who they can go with. Nagari will be the starting number 9 with Sujin Ling, or Lee, I should say, as the fly half. Nakano in the midfield alongside Dylan Riley. Then out on one wing, it is Hone Naikabura. Out on the other, it is Matsushima. And then Yamanaka to close out the starting lineup. He will be at number 15. Looking through at this Samoan starting lineup for them, they have got Jordan Lay, Latiro Tole, and also Paul Aloamile. He is going to be the captain for the Samoans in this game. Alona Usi at number 7, I was about to say, but number 4. Michael Curry there as the number 5. Taileni Su at number 6. Alamana Matanga 7. And Fa'a Asoo at number 8. And he is on debut for this exciting game up against the Japanese. Jonathan Tamatene will be starting at number 9. And another debut happens at number 10. Christian Leliofano. Now, some people may say, hang on, he's had a few international games before. He has, but not for Samoa. Instead, it was for the Australians that he was having a success at international level in the midfield. It is going to be Paiaua at number 12, Sutini at number 13, and then Tamua Manu out on the left, Nauria Famai out on the right, and Danny Tawala at number 15. So quite a few Moana Pacifica players in this side. A lot of players who do well in the Bunnings NBC when they are able to build that momentum, such as Naria Famai, Danny Tawala. We know that they work quite nicely together. Christian Leliofano and Jonathan Tamatene, already a combination that we have seen for Super Rugby. I believe this game will be a great challenge for both of these teams. Japan in their last game up against the All Blacks XV, they did pretty well. They were able to hang in that contest up against the Samoans. I mentioned it on the last live stream that we did between Fiji and Tonga. This game for Samoa has got to be about physicality because you have to try and outmuscle the Japan forward pack, which is tricky to do when they have got those workhorses in there, like Michael Leach, Fakatava, Kazuki Himeno as well. Should be an absolutely awesome game. We've got a few people in the chat as well. I should have mentioned we have got Fa'a Misiona in there. He said, let's go, Manu. Manu, you can do it. My nephew, Michael Aratao, playing today. Not sure if he's the captain, says Natoa. So he's actually missing from this side. Even though he is our thumbnail, of course, he is normally a Samoan captain, but he will not be playing in this contest, unfortunately. We do have to wait that little bit longer to see him in action. For Samoa, let's go Japan, says who am I? And also, will this be live on NITV2? I'm not too sure whether or not it's on that one. I know that's on Flow Rugby as another option of being able to watch it. Where can we watch this game? Good sir, it is on Sky Sports Select for us here in New Zealand, Junaid. Same as that Fiji versus Tonga game. They were very late scheduling it. They got it on there in the end. And this game have got, sounds like an all-star commentary panel for this contest. A decent enough size crowd by the looks of it on this near side. Few empty seats in the background, similar to what I have got as my background. There as well. Go Samoa, Cecina. And also Christian Leliafano with the thumbs up from Blues Nate. Yeah, massive opportunity for him. I believe he will have the kicking tee in this matchup. But he is not the only Samoan who will be making their debut. Looking off the bench, Charlie Faumuina. He has played for the All Blacks in the past. Now has the opportunity to play for the Samoan side. And it looks like Samoa, for their kit today, they will be wearing the white with the blue patches on their sleeves, or actually up near their shoulders. It actually goes right around the back. Whereas Japan, they are in their classic white kit with the red stripes on the front. I'm curious to know why Samoa haven't gone with the blue kit. I know they're away from home, but I think it would have actually clashed less than the kit that they have gone with. And this one, they have got Talapusi Iritara Inari and also Ed Fidel as the replacement backs for the Samoans, and some strong forwards in there with Miracle. Whaialangi was having a very good Super Rugby Pacific for the Japanese. Osada coming off the bench is going to be great. Saito could add quite a bit of speed onto that ball later on. A lot of experience in Craig Miller at number 17. We'll also be looking for a good scrummaging battle with Charlie Faumuina later on in the matchup. We've got there, why not the full blue kit? We clash less exactly, says Junaid there. Yeah, it's confusing a little bit. I assume it's because they are the away team, so they are in the alternative strip, but it's still, for me, I feel like the alternative strip should only be for when your home kit clashes. You know, like, it seems a bit strange that they've gone with the blue. They've still got the blue shorts, though, so that will make it nice and easy to recognize them. And I can tell you right now, both sides are wearing white kits. Those kits are not going to stay white for very long. As soon as these big hits start flowing, I'm sure that both sides are really going to end up with a lot of mud on them. What channel are you watching on? I'm watching on Sky Sports Select here in New Zealand. The other options are Flow Rugby, and I think Stan Sport in Australia may even have the option of being able to watch it. I'm excited, says Sai, and agreed. Should have worn the blue. Sai there as well. But do let me know your score predictions, ladies and gentlemen. This one, I think, is probably the harder game to predict out of the two, mainly because we know Japan will be strong. But I feel like Samoa, last year we saw some really good stuff from them, and they'll look to keep on building on that. Some would say that their side, it doesn't have a huge amount of extremely well-known players, but they've got a lot of capable players who can go far. You know, like a Duncan Paiaua at number 12. Not too many people have heard that man's name before. Olipanu Sutini on the outside. They're normally used to seeing more of that midfield combination of maybe having Tualo or Ed Fidel or even Noria Famai, someone in there. Henry Taiafu as well. He is not actually there for this matchup. And there was Samoa missing that they might have for the World Cup, says Junaid. So they haven't got Michael Alatoa, just to name one. A couple of those other names that I said, like of Henry Taiafu. And then also they haven't got Stephen Luatua in this match, what they did have last year. So he could have a huge impact in the way that they play. We've seen that with the likes of the Tongan side, having a few of those overseas internationals who come back and play well. I had a couple on Samoa, who I'm familiar with due to the MLR, says Sai, and also not on Stan, sadly, says IL-19. Is it on KO, out of curiosity? IL-19? I can't remember whether or not I saw it on KO. I actually ended up signing up for Stan Sport because I thought I'd be able to watch Fiji versus Tonga as well as this game. I did not end up being able to watch them, so now I have a Stan Sport trial that I ended up paying for that I may not use. Luckily, I think it's a 7-day free trial, although I think I already used that, so I think I've just paid for a month of Stan Sport. So hopefully I can find something on there that I will end up watching a little bit more of. Luatua, says Junaid. And yeah, there's a few other players scattered throughout that aren't playing in this game, mainly in that forward pack, to be honest. Looking at that loose forward trio, they've got Alamana Matanga there. Who else did they have last year other than Stephen Luatua? Chris Vui, they don't have at the moment for this game. And the locking duo, other guys as well that I just can't quite think of. And the trial that you pay for, yeah, I think I ended up just signing up for a month because I had already had the trial, sadly. I'll have a look. Says IL-19. Yeah, I'm hoping. I ended up with Stan as well, so I have to see what's on there that's not in New Zealand in terms of shows and whatnot. So if you guys know any good stand sport shows that I should watch or stand shows that I should watch before cancelling after my month of subscription, do let me know. Now we have got the Samoa national anthem, and then we are right into the action for this game, ladies and gentlemen. We already know the result of the first game of the Pacific Nations Cup. It was Fiji victorious 36 points to 20. And now they sit top of the table. But the Samoans or the Japanese, they have more than enough capability of being able to go on and get themselves into first by the end of the game. Oh, I'm excited. Workaholics on Stan says aisle 19. Workaholics. That sounds familiar. Is it like a slightly comedy show, aisle 19, or like a? I've seen it advertised, I think. No, Tim Nanai Williams, he is another player who they haven't actually got in their squad here, but could end up being added in before the World Cup. Just trying to think of who else overseas the Samoans can look to. Who's their normal 10? Because it's not normally Christian Liliafano. And I don't think it's normally the man who's off the bench either. Who do they normally get 10? Well, last year, anyway. Yeah, it's a cracker. Says aisle 19. Leofano. Big opportunity for him to possibly secure that spot at 10. He is able to have a good performance, but the Samoan national anthem has been sung. Now we just have the Japanese one. But for now, while they are doing the Japanese national anthem, we will once again show you guys the starting lineup for the Samoans in this game. Jordan Lay, Latiro Tole, and also Paul Alo Amile at number 3. Alainusi and number 4. That name will get me a few times throughout this stream, I'm sure. And Michael Curry, yeah, as the number 5. Taleni Su at 6. Alamana Matanga at 7. And then Fa'asa'o on debut, it's the opportunity. At number 8, Jonathan Tamatine, the Moana Pacifica halfback, alongside his Moana Pacifica teammate, and Christian Leliafano. In the midfield, it is Paiua and Sutini. Tamua Manu out on the left wing, Naria Famai out on the right, and Danny Tuala slotting in as fullback. And now for this Japanese side, it is going to be Inagaki at number 1, Sakate at 2, and also Jiwangu at number 3, James Moore and Fakatava, the lock-in duo Cornelson, Kazuki Hamino, and Michael Leach, the loose forwards in this one. Nagari and Lee, the 9-10, Nakano and Dylan Riley as the 12 and 13 centre combination, and Nakamura out on one wing, Matsushima out on the other, and Yamanaka at number 15. Where does D'Angelo play? He is normally, he could be the number 10 or number 12 normally. I think he likes to play between the twos. But, he was probably the one that they had last year as that number 10, I believe, throughout the season. There was another bloke as well who I can't think of now, which I feel kind of bad. But it looks like Samoa are going to be doing the pre-match ritual here as the side, and Samoa missing Jordan Taufua. He was the other loose forward trio fella that I was thinking of. Lima Sapawanga and Luatua and Tim Nanai. I don't know why I was so hesitant to say Sapawanga. For some reason, I think it was because I was thinking of who have they got now that's joined up with the Tonga side. It's not Sapawanga, it's the other fly half fella, whose name, of course, now I can't think of. And up the Manu Japan, going to be a battle hardened for this one, or going to be battle hardened for this one. True. They have actually ended up in the scenario of having a couple warm-up games up against New Zealand. Lima Sapawanga will be sick too, says Janae. So they still have time to bring some of these guys back in and test out combinations in this game. Let's see what they can do. Samoa fired up for this contest, as they should be. Ray Nuia, he will be coming off the bench. I'm looking forward to seeing him, but also Charlie Famawina. He will get himself a crack later on in the game as well. Right, the pre-match rituals have been done, which means we have less than a minute before the kickoff. Japan versus Samoa. And looking fired up, they will do their jog from 40 metres to the try line in preparation for the second game of the Pacific Nations Cup. Crowd. I have to say, the stadium holds a lot of people, so I'm not too sure what the sizing is in terms of how many they've got in attendance compared to how many the stadium can hold. But it looks like it's about 50%, maybe 40% in attendance for this game. And kickoff soon, like the stream, says Junaid there. Hello, says the Blues, Nate. But yeah, anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Matthew Raynell, the man who was in charge of the New Zealand versus South Africa game, is going to be in charge of this one here. Jordan Way, he is going to be there as an assistant referee alongside Bruce, who also was there for the Rugby Championship, and then Golzins is there as TMO. How can we watch, says your dad? Well, that's a good question. We have the same Sky Sport, if that was my dad, but Sky Sport in New Zealand, Flow Rugby elsewhere, I believe, is your best option. It might be on Sky Sport Pacific as well. And good crowds, says Blues 8, Blues Nate, I should say, but they are just showing Naiko Bula. I think he's going to be dangerous out on that left wing, going head-to-head in this game up against Samoa Manu. Oh, damn, my dad's here, Dad. Says, oh, 19 there as well. They are talking about the Australia A versus Tonga game that we did see, and that seemed to help Tonga find their feet earlier on, or actually later on, I would argue, in that Pacific Nations Cup game. They didn't gas out anywhere near as quickly as some expected them to, but Samoa now kicking off from left to right, and we are underway for another game of the Pacific Nations Cup, nicely taken by Nakabula inside of the 22. Now it's going to be available for Japan to possibly get this kick downfield from Australia. Been trying look for the past 20 minutes, says your dad. I know that it was on NITV in Australia for Fiji versus Tonga, so it might be a decent option to look there just to see whether or not they have got that option. The kick has not found touch. Benny Tawala boots it back up high. Japan waiting for this one. Michael Leach, it goes through his hands, and it's now going to be the scrum feed for Samoa. I did watch either of the ABXV games, but saw the scorelines. Where did Japan struggle? Says Junaid. For the first game, I think the bigger thing for them was it just took them a little bit too long to find their feet. In fact, it was that fatigue side of things set in. Definitely later on in the game, and that is where the All Blacks XV were able to run away with it. Second game, it was a little bit closer, but they still seem to be that fitness later on hurt them a bit more. And I don't know whether or not that is due to the way that they play in the Japanese top league, or whether it is just the fact that New Zealand were trying to push that pace that much. Hey, son, 19 says your dad. And hi from Timaru, says Sean. You are just up the road from myself. Is the weather as cold there as it is here at the moment? We are sitting, 7 degrees Celsius. It's not terrible for us down south. Now ball fed in by Jonathan Tamatine, but yeah, they'll have to be physical in this game, Japan, just like they were up against the All Blacks last year in the October International between the two sides. It was a forward pass out wide to Naria Famai. He didn't hear it, so he's going to go and put the ball down. The drift forward in the pass, Matthew Ray now says. Now scrum feed this time in favour of Japan. Very cold, says Sean. And also go the Manu. Says Pete Powell. What, Naria Famai, if there hadn't been the whistle blowing, he might have been gone down that wing. It'll be important for the back three in this game for Japan. Nakabula, also Matsushima and Yamanaka. Three men who have more than enough capability. There was a strong scrum from Samoa. Says just some guy, don't mind me. But yeah, if they can continue having that physical early start to this match, I would say that Samoa, they could find themselves a couple early tries on the board up against this Japanese side that I feel as the contest gets closer to halftime, they'll find their momentum and they'll just start rolling. And also MR scoreboards, or Mr. Scoreboard, sorry, please, a minute. Says Blues. Nate looks like he's kicked it in, but he's kicked it in too far. Now we're up to 4 minutes rather than 3. And here I am struggling with 11 degrees in Auckland. Tell you what, I'd take the Auckland weather every day of the week. I saw that you guys the other night it was the Mount Smart Stadium game. It was like 13 degrees, and down here it was like -1. And I was thinking, geez, it's nice to have it be summer up north. Down south, we're trying to just not have it snow each day. Nice run. Naikabura. Put into the pocket. It will be Lee. Puts it high. Chasing after this one. It's going to be Matsushima, doesn't get their hands to it. It's going to be a knock on against Danny Tawala, now kick downfield from Japan's winger, and it's slowly curving, but it is going to stay on the field of play. Pressure on Samoa, taken back into their in-goal area, and it is now going to be a 5-meter scrum for Japan. Let's go Samoa, says Zippera. And also, who's felt my vibes? Scoreboard, says Nate. And Christchurch freezing, says Pete Powell, with 1 degrees. It's not too often you guys up in Christchurch are actually warmer than us, but it seems to be today is one of those nights. I mean, it says 7 degrees Celsius, but I think it's quite a bit less than that with the real feel. That looks like a big moment for Japan, definitely. Now only 5 meters out from Samoa's line. They will look to keep on applying pressure. They've got a fantastic back line. That midfield combo of Nakano and Riley been proven effective in past matches. And also Samoa to win. I just can't see this Japanese team pulling off a win. It's disappointing to see how little progress since they've had since the last World Cup. I mean, they almost beat the All Blacks last year. But then saying that, a lot of people would say that anyone almost beat the All Blacks last year. But yeah, they only lost the All Blacks by about 7 points. I think it was 38-31 or something along there. I think that performance really impressed a lot of people with the way they were able to play. I was at the Sharks game last weekend with the Warriors. Up the wire, says Sean. Yeah, they're not doing too badly at the moment in the NRL. We used to do a few of their games, and we have done a few of their games in the past, but I don't want to jinx them by doing a contest and have them lose it. Definitely not if it's an important game. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Jason, unpredictable, sometimes great. Or Japan, sorry. Unpredictable, sometimes great, inconsistent. Any team can beat Samoa, and this coming from a Samoan, says Michael. Full fed in. That was a brilliant scrum from Samoa, though. Flat run there from Yamanaka. Moves very close to the line. In fact, it was Matsushima, the right winger. Now they are going off to the left. It's Michael Leach, 5 meters out from the line. Samoa's discipline going to be very important here. The rush defense from Jordan Lay able to shut it down. Now Michael Leach gets close. Thought about reaching out, trying to get this ball recycled quickly. Kazuki Imino just half an inch from the line, but it will be the advantage to Japan again. Skip pass, knock on for Fakatava. So they will go back. Reino, I have no idea why he's still checking this one. It's not it. Did he not knock it on? They've awarded the try. And now they want to check it. I thought that ball was knocked on by Fakatava, but the referee, Matthew Reino, he just said, yep. We'll see how that goes. Apparently it's a try. We'll have to see the replay here. I thought there was a knock on from Fakatava here. They're showing the grounding, but that isn't the part of it that they need to check. They're saying that's a try, but was it a knock on before that? Are they even going to check it? Okay, they've shown the wrong replay. They're trying to get it fired up. It was a bit earlier on that we might have seen the knock on. Here we go. So they ended up shifting it to the left, and there was a drop ball. Yeah. So it was knocked on by Samoa. And then I think it was knocked on by Japan. They are now going to be going upstairs to the TMO. It's how much prep the second-tier nations get for the World Cup, says IL-19. Yeah, they get nowhere near as many games, do they? And I hope that in the future, I mean, they're adding that new competition with the 10 teams from the Six Nations and the Rugby Championship. I hope that they do like a second tier type thing where they have like 10 teams from around the world as well. I guess it's just that budget as well. Okay, Renel is saying, show me the knock on then. Does anyone know if it's on TV in Aussie, says Hanoi? Not too sure, unfortunately. It seems like it's no longer on NITV. Like the last game was sadly not on KO or Stan in Australia, says IL-19. How do I stream the game in Australia? Check Stan and KO not there. So you could try NITV just in case, because they did do the last game between Fiji and Tonga. The other option is Flow Rugby, but you probably don't want to have to sign up for another subscription. Right, I think we're going to need a closer angle than the one that they're showing. See. That looks like a knock-on from Fakatava. It was knocked into him by Christian Laliafano. And then, I believe, hit the Japanese hand. Although they're saying now going forward with the knee. And they have now Okay, it's going to be a try. We'll stick with the on-field decision. So originally the TMO said he saw a knock on. Then the TMO, when he was looking through it, he was like, it's hit his knee. Matthew Rana went, was that not a knock on? And then he went, okay, stick with your on-field decision. Literally looked like a knock on, no knee. There's just some guy, yeah, a bit unlucky there for Samoa, I would have to say. But it is going to be 5 points now for Japan and now a kick conversion attempt as well. Commentators now saying it was a knock on as well. Can you show it or not? Sadly not. If we show any match footage or audio, we get taken straight off YouTube. Unfortunately, anyone know how he's watching? So I am watching it on Sky Sports Select in New Zealand. Now just showing the replay one more time. No, wrong angle. They didn't get to see it. And the Kiwi lads, our saviour of rugby's. Says Blues Nate. And also, sorry, buddy, unable to show it live. I hear you. Says Blues Nate. Now it's going to be kicked high. Nicely taken by James Moore. Playing number 4. Anytime I say that, it just rhymes no matter what you do with that man's name. And the position, that was an offload attempt from Michael Leach and Fakatava now. He's already been able to get himself one try. Now steaming up the field like he's a back. Now Japan dragged down about 30 metres out from Samoa's line. This is a back line that will be feared when they play against the lower sides. But Michael Leach, for the second time in the match, has knocked the ball on. So nicely picked up now. I think it was Sutini who ended up with the ball. How you doing, the Ashes? That is the plan, although it does look like it's supposed to be pretty wet throughout the fixture for today anyway. But a kick downfield from Christian Lealiafano. A lot of pressure so far coming from Japan. Fakatava, he's already scored himself one try and also just had a massive run up the middle. Is this playing in Japan or Samoa? It is in Japan for this game. In front of a very happy crowd with that run from Fakatava. Now line out throw for Japan. They will be about 48 metres out from the Samoan line. And Lealiafano's kicking could be key here in terms of those clearances from inside of the 22. Thrown in now by Sakate. Kazuki Hamano, inside ball. Now off to the right-hand side. Going with the grubber in behind. Danny Tawala is back to cover it, although it's a little bit of an awkward bouncing one. He's got 3 Japanese players making the tackle, including, I believe it was Shogun Nakano, who got there first. Now Jonathan Tamatine is going to have to fire this one back into the pocket to Christian Lealiafano, who again will put the ball into touch. Same with it being indoors, it means that there's no wind to contend with, so the kicking should be relatively accurate. Showing the Japan head coach Jamie Joseph for this one. Be happy with the way that Japan played in their 2 games up against the All Blacks XV, but there's still progress to be made as they are making their way towards the Rugby Championship. Or sorry, making their way towards the World Cup, I should say. For you, Hamish, do you think this knew the Rugby Championship? I mean, it's the Pacific Nations Cup, but I think some people would compare it a little bit with the Rugby Championship in terms of it gets these 4 teams the opportunity to play each other. I'd love to see it extend into a 6-game competition in the future rather than just the 3, but still plenty of time for them to adjust that. James Moore now charging. Gets hit hard in the tackle by Alamanda Matanga, who has fell to the wrong side of the breakdown but got out of the way before giving up the penalty. Nagari now puts the ball high. So no Samoan player was really hugely committed who was running backwards, but they had Danny Tawala charging forward, manages to get onto the ball. Ed Fidel will be coming off the bench later on in the contest. A few brilliant players from the Bunnings NPC, which does actually start up in only 2 weeks' time as well. What do you think is a good VPN? Says Hanoi. I mean, I have about 3. I believe just because some of them don't work for certain things, so I have to get other ones. NordVPN's normally pretty solid in terms of one of the stronger options. I've got Pure VPN as well, and then alongside that, PIA. That's going to be the knock-on from Samoa. Looks like there might be a little bit of an injury here to one of the Japanese players. Yamanaka, he charged forward. Oh, and then he just got the big knock to the back of the head from a Samoan player coming forward. And next year might be 6 rounds. Thanks, like prediction by Japan, or Japan by 28 to the 15 of Samoa. He's debater of everything. 11 minutes in. Tonga, they will be playing Japan in next week's fixture. And then on the other side of the draw for the rugby, or the Pacific Nations Cup, I should say, it will be Samoa versus Fiji. I don't know how I can find a link. The last game here in Wales / the UK. Watched Pakistan versus UAE last week with no problem. Easy to find a channel for this game. And I hope Samoa do well. It's weird how little coverage they give the Pacific Island rugby, to be honest, because that is some of the rugby that a lot of people enjoy watching the most. Yet they don't have it available for everyone to be able to watch. We only really see the occasional highlights and everything along those lines with this new competition setup. Does this just delay the inevitable of Fiji and Japan joining the Rugby Championship? His username. I think they'll try and keep the Rugby Championship to the 4 teams as long as they can until it financially is going to hurt them too much. And I think that's when they'll look to someone like a Japan for that financial stability and the money that they put into their rugby. Fiji, they would be in for the flair and the entertainment that they would be able to bring. It's a big scrum from Samoa. They once again get themselves the penalty advantage. Now off to the left-hand side. Short run. Sutini knocks it on. Now they will go back. That reminds me, Asia Rugby and Rugby Europe are trying hard to stream their stuff. But these nations make it so difficult. CSI. And, I mean, I look at that warm-up game that we had between Tonga and Australia A. And no, it was actually pretty awesome to see that they streamed the game fully on YouTube, and it had over 100,000 views. So if they aren't going to be showing it in too many options, the best bet is to actually have it so that you're just getting as many eyes on the game as you can. They don't realize that that also generates revenue, whether that is through people buying subscriptions because they want to watch the games more extensively, or just YouTube ads, I guess. Travel expenses these days. Says Blues, Nate. Yeah, can be very expensive. Definitely for the tier 2 nations that are trying to kind of get all of the competition or get all of the games going that they can. But traveling cross-continent always gets very costly. Now, Tiro Tole, line out throwers straight from him, and now they look to get that rolling maul going. So the set piece for Samoa at the moment does seem to be the stronger part of their game. Now looking to slowly get that a little bit further forward. I believe that one's going to end up going down. So if this ball is not available, it will be Japan's ball. But instead, Samoa do keep it alive with Teleni Su on a lay. Like he is going to give it off to Alamanda Matanga, man who plays brilliantly for Moana Pacifica. Now off to the left again. Short ball from Elena Usi. Then Tamatine looks to shift it to the right this time. Christian Leliafano, quick answer. Danny Tawala in the midfield. I think he's dropped that one. And now Samoa, they have unfortunately given up the position back to Japan. That is something that they've done a little bit too often in the early stage of the match. Big bump off there from, I believe it was Aiawa, who was able to get that ball back for Samoa and charge straight over the top of his opposite number. And also, why is this game not live on Stan? Very disappointing, says Bernie. I agree. I feel like Stan Sport, the weird thing is, a few of the broadcasters are broadcasting the next round. They're all doing Samoa versus Fiji, but not many of them are doing this first round of the competition, even though it is a part of the whole competition. Normally you want to see every single game if you've got licensing, but the penalty will go back for Japan for a high tackle from Samoa near the close touch line. Too many knock-ons, says just some guy. And also Stan Beers are not playing the Pacific Games, says Chris. Because they did do the Pacific Nations Cup last year, didn't they? If I'm not wrong. I think they had when Australia A were involved in the competition. But now that Australia A aren't, they've decided to not cover the competition this year. Stan say all rugby, but they lie, says Chris. I know this game's on Flow Rugby, but they are another one that didn't cover the first game between the two sides. In fact, I feel like Sky in New Zealand is one of the only broadcasters who have covered both games, which is crazy to think. How you doing, Sevens? When it's back, we certainly will be. A man too many penalties, says Violi. Hopefully I've said that correctly. I do apologise if I've got that slightly wrong. Oh, and you're watching on what again? Sky Sport Select here in New Zealand. So you might be able to get a Sky Sport Now free trial if you are in New Zealand, or you have a VPN that can set you to New Zealand. Could be a good option there to be able to watch the games, but yeah, there's not really many free options around the world for these games, unfortunately. That is going to be kicked towards the touchline. I've just actually said that underneath the surface there is an artificial turf. So if they want to use artificial, they roll up the whole field. And Stansports is a joke, let's be honest. He's on 19. I mean, they've been all right in terms of the amount that they've covered in the past, kind of with the short amount of time that they've fired up. But it's still like if you're going to show some, you've got to make sure that people know that you're going to be showing a majority of it. Like when it comes around to the Rugby World Cup, I hope there's a few free to air options. New Zealand, it's all on Sky, I believe. Sweet, gonna try. I'll come back and tell you as if it works. Your dad and Japan's line out almost worked. It did. They went with that nice short ball and then the pop pass back up to Atsushi Sakate. It was. And also, do you see a poll with New Zealand, Fiji, Springboks, and Ireland? Says Brandon. I mean, anything's really possible in the sevens, isn't it? With how quickly all rotate. Looks like time is off. High tackle by 6 blue. That is Taleni Su, and they want to go upstairs and have a look at this to see if there is potential foul play. Because if it's too high and they feel like he stopped the try from being scored, this could end up as a penalty try in favour of Japan from what they're saying. The Pakistan UAE game was on YouTube on Asia Rugby Channel. The Pacific Nations need to do the same. Crazy considering how many Pacific Nation people play rugby around the world. So the player was ducking, but it was still relatively high from Taulini Su. For me, yes, it was high, but is there an arm wrap there? If there's a wrap of this arm, I'm not sure about the right, though. It just kind of dangles down there. Just the Game Bro says, Jay, sadly, if I did that, they would take me straight off YouTube and ban me for 3 months and then also possibly fine me some money, which would be slightly unfortunate. If there's head contact, Sue has got to go to the sin bin. Yeah, I think the ball carrier dip, they say. There's an attempt to wrap as well. So it sounds like there may be a yellow card here or just a penalty. It's going to be a yellow card for Tauleni Su there. And if it's not a try, he's got to go to the sin bin. So here's Shack of Hearts. And anyone got links for the game, please, says Jay. Only on Sky Sports Select in New Zealand is the only real option. And we've got, I enjoyed watching Hong Kong versus South Korea on Asia Rugby recently, says Sai. And I feel like those smaller, it's always interesting that the slightly smaller sides in terms of popular or like growth of rugby and everything, they're the ones who are doing it, I feel, right by showing their games for free so that more people get involved and follow their teams. Now, line out again for Sakate, nicely taken by James Moore at the front of this rolling maul, is looking extremely dangerous here for Japan, only a couple meters out. Sakate hanging on to it at the back, although I think Japan have almost managed to drag that one down, have they? Is the ball stuck in? No, it's going to be available. Nagari gets it off the back. Now going to the right-hand side. Attack and run there from Nakano, but he has knocked the ball on. So now Samoa, they have got themselves the penalty advantage. Looks like Jonathan Tamatine going to send this ball to the air. And it goes into touch about 27 meters out from Samoa's line. And proving that that is a big difference between Tier 3 and Tier 4 rugby. And how are you watching the game? I am watching it on Sky Sports Select here in New Zealand. A little harsh. The Japanese player seemed to duck. Definite penalty, though, says Robinson. I think the thing that probably upgraded it was because of how close he was to the line. Yeah. Tried to duck a little bit, didn't he? And he's a big man, Taleni Su. And Helma Uso, hope all is well, champ. You too, Johnny. I'm doing all right. Nice inside ball. It looked like it might have been high. Yes, it was. From the captain, Aloha Mile. Now Japan, they could take on the easy 3 points if they want it, although they may consider going for the corner in this case, just due to the amount of time that is remaining of that yellow card. They can get another try now. Could definitely put Samoa into deep water, although they will take on the 3 points. So once again, it is Seonson Lee. Will be lining it up, already sitting 1 from 1 for today, but just slightly too high from Paul Aloha-Mile. The little disciplinary errors at the moment from Samoa are certainly hurting them. 95-0 to the UAE, yeah. Good experience for Pakistan. They only just got into Asia Rugby. And also great stuff from Samoa, says Sai in there as well. Do you think England will win the cricket today? It looks like it's supposed to be pretty wet, so it may be debatable for them to even get any action in throughout today. Kick from Japan. Just a little bit towards the right-hand post, but still goes over. So the score now sits 10 points to 0 in favour of Japan. Not sure if Japan are scrappy or if a resolute Samoan defence is forcing errors. I think the disciplinary side of things has been the problem for Samoa throughout the early stages. Plus, they've had quite a few handling errors. And there's always Tonga playing Fiji. That'll be a great game to watch. Plenty of talent in both XVs. They actually played about 2 hours ago, Johnny. But I won't spoil the result. It was on Sky Sport. So you may be able to catch a full highlights reel of that one. But yeah, it was a good game of rugby to be able to watch. Nicely taken by Japan's fullback, Yamanaka. Rush defense from Samoa. Trying to apply that little bit of extra pressure, put Japan against it inside of their own 22. But now the nice clearing boot. Huge kick downfield from Yamanaka. Danny Tawala, one of the only backs for Samoa who has touched the ball consistently throughout the first 20 minutes of this game. Now Seonson Lee manages to take that one and kick it back downfield. Now Tamua Manu knock on again from Samoa. Loses the ball in contact. Ball bounces up and Fakatava now ends up with it again. He's already got himself a try and a line break to his name throughout the early stages. James Moore. Up, but he is tackled low. I believe it would have been Olipano Sutini. Pass on the outside now for Japan, trying to go down the wing. Knock on from them as well. I was going to watch the cricket. I don't have Sky Sports, so maybe I'll watch the football. There's Ahmad. And okay, my guess is Fiji won 42 points to 28. Okay, you can tell me the result now, please. You weren't a mile off. 36 points to 20 in favour of Fiji. They were actually 19-0 up in the early stages of the match. And then Tonga were able to slowly fight their way back into it. Japan seem to have played all their games every year at home. There's Chris Seo. They've had quite a few over the last little while for Japan. Although I think in the November internationals, if I'm not wrong, they ended up playing a couple games overseas. Is that correct? Did they end up playing England in England? And what are the chances of an England win? It's relatively high at the moment. It just depends on the rain. So I don't know why Stan doesn't have the match, says Samoa. It's a great question. I feel like they certainly should. Both teams having 4 handling errors in the early stage of this match. After only the 21 minutes, both front rows standing up. A little bit more stability there. Looking through at the benches, there are some fantastic players that will be making their way off the bench. Saito for Japan could be very handy. Also for Samoa, debut Charlie Famawina. Not too far away in size here. Both teams listed as having 4 handling errors each. So yeah, a lot of them. I'm writing a letter to Stan. Says aisle 19. I wonder whether or not they'll start picking up the coverage from next week. Oh, penalty to Japan now for the second little bit of pre-engagement from Japan. But the thing is, a lot of broadcasters are going to be showing Fiji versus Samoa next week. But they just didn't want to show these first round games, which doesn't make sense to me. I would have thought you'd try and build up the hype so that then when you show Fiji versus Samoa, a lot more people are interested. Because I can guarantee you right now, if Stan Sport were showing the games of the Pacific Nations Cup, there would have been many people who would have signed up for Stan Sport. Definitely if it was available outside of Australia. I know that it's not the case, but if you had a VPN as well, Like, they would have had plenty of people signing up. I even signed up for it because I didn't think it was going to be here in New Zealand. So now I have a month of random Australian sport and also some Australian shows, which I haven't looked through. How long is left after Lenny Sue's yellow card? It's about, I'd say, 5 minutes remaining, or around 4 minutes, somewhere around there. It is going to be offloaded back now by Japan, and they have been able to get themselves the turnover at line-out time. I mentioned about how important that set piece would be for Samoa, but that has not worked out for them in that case. Japan kicking it downfield, looking for the distance, not finding the touchline now. Danny Tuala finds the offload away to Tamua Manu. This might be the best attacking opportunity that Samoa have had throughout this fixture up till this point. Now, big run from, it was Soatala. Penalty goes the way of Samoa. Japanese player not rolling away. I just turned off one of the lights to see if that helped with the lighting. It seems to be flickering quite a bit. When are you doing a Rugby Challenge 4 video with George? Says, hey, we haven't really got any plans of doing one anytime too soon. We've done a couple during Super Rugby and whatnot, but once again, it's another one how with the amount of editing and everything that goes into those videos for Rugby Challenge, normally we want to be able to film them nice and early, but then also, it's just depending on whether people do want to actually see them or whether it is just us recording them for us. Because, that's the thing. We've recorded videos in the past that we knew no one would want to watch, but we just record them because, we wanted to have the memories there. And what's the crowd like at this match? Is the stadium full? Not really, no. About 40% crowd, I'd say, with the stands sitting the way that they are. The penalty to Christian Leali'ifano's Samoa side, and now on debut, he looks to get his first points in a Samoan kit. Not the easiest kick either, about 40 metres out on the angle, looking to bring it right to left, I would say. He's left it. No, that's going over. And that is going to be now 3 points for Samoa, 10 for Japan. Nothing on stand next week. Closest to anything out of the Rugby Championship is Scotland, Italy. I did actually see that they had that one. They're going to be having Scotland, Italy as a warm-up game. I think that's one that they might not be showing here in New Zealand. So I guess that's one that Stan have got over them. But yeah, hopefully they've got all the games of the Rugby World Cup coming up in the future. But the players still in the bin for Taleni Su. It's actually been both Pacific Island teams of Tonga and Samoa both ending up with their number 6s in the bin early due to discipline. Samoa taking that one just outside of their 22. Looks like Jonathan Tamatino once again will roll it back. Played a bit for the Hurricanes in the past in Super Rugby, and then more recently playing for Moana Pacifica. Nicely taken by Yamanaka. Tackled in a 2-man tackle. Tried to find the offload. Looked very flat with it find in the hands of his Japanese teammate. Now going off the right-hand side. Nice backline mover. Matsushima looked to get it going. It's a drop ball there from, it was Paiua, and another knock-on from Japan as well. It's going to be the knock-on advantage. Now drop ball. They'll go back. That seems to be the case for both sides at the moment. Neither side able to hang on to that ball for phase after phase without ending up dropping it. Is the England women football team good to watch, says Ahmad? I wouldn't actually know. I don't think I've ever seen one of their games. I'd assume so. They're normally not too bad at football in England. And, bro, everyone dropping the ball, someone put soap on that ball, says just some guy. And the worst thing is they can't blame, rain, or they can't blame anything like that. It's dry as in the stadium. It's just not working for them at the moment for either team. 51% at the moment for Samoa, 49% possession for Japan. And I'd say that territory is probably a little bit more in Japan's favour. Are you working today and tomorrow, says Bonnet? At this stage for the weekend, we've got the Ashes overnight that we will be doing. I don't believe we're going to be working tomorrow that I know of, but I'll probably be working Monday, building into the Rugby Championship. Google for me says it won't show the score of the Tonga versus Fiji match until the game is over. The game is over and still nothing says username. So, yeah, the score on that one, do you want to know it? Or do you already know it, maybe? If you do want to know it, I can let you know. I can even tell you the try scorers as well, if you really wanted to. 27 minutes in, Jonathan Tamatino back to Christian Leali'ifano, who sees the space in behind the Japanese defence. Put it into the 22. And now Yamanaka boots it downfield off his left. Does put it into touch about 40 metres out from Japan's line. But if Samoa, now that they're back to 15, if they can score just before the end of this first half, it will give them a little bit of confidence. I'd like to know the score. So it was 36 points to 20 in favour of Fiji. And Fiji actually started 19-0 up after about 13 minutes in that game. But then Tonga were able to slow them down with the scoring. In the end, 36 points to 20. Jonathan Tamatine now giving it off to the big number 12, Duncan Paiaua. Another spin from, it was Fa'asola. Christian Leliafano skip pass. Does manage to get it out wide to Taleni Su. Found his offload. Although thrown back in play by one of the Samoan forwards, I think that was. Tried to go for one extra pass, and it ends up going back into the hands of the Japanese. What is a friendly exactly in rugby, says Stephen Bissett? Pretty much the way of describing it is just not a part of a competition normally, but this is the Pacific Nations Cup that these two sides go on head-to-head with. And yeah, it didn't work. Says your dad for the Samoan, or for KO, was it? Or Stan Sport that you tried out? Or was it Flow? It might have actually been Flow Rugby, was it? Nicely done. It looked like Taulini Su was asking for maybe a high tackle there on himself. Jonathan Tamatine, another box kick. We've seen quite a bit of that throughout this game. Quite an even matchup. Now, jumping high. Christian Leliafano unable to take it. Another knock on. This is on NITV as well. Oh, is it? Okay, NITV is a good option for you then, your dad. And interested to see how Tonga progress over the next while. They share the same pool with Ireland. They do, as well as Scotland and South Africa in that group as well. I'm not to be able to see your live stream sometime in August due to my general anesthetic. Says Bonnie there. So hopefully everything does go smoothly for you. Looks like they're going upstairs for a TMO decision again. That might be the high shot that they were asking about. What is your favourite month in the year, especially for commentary wise? It does depend a little bit in terms of when games are taking place. This year it's going to be September because of the Rugby World Cup. But normally, July and August aren't too bad because we normally have the Rugby Championship in there, or maybe earlier on in the year in about March because Super Rugby is well and truly going. And Fiji versus Samoa are going to be a cracker, and we will be covering that one next week on the channel as well. It's going to be an entertaining game, and it is actually kicking off before New Zealand versus Australia. And Fiji versus Samoa should be a good game, says Gold D. Roger as well. Oh, yeah, they're thinking Michael Leach maybe came in a little bit high. Now, this will be interesting to see how this is officiated compared to Taulini Su, because Michael Leach was on the up there, whereas Su was kind of coming down a little bit more. He had more duck. Is there an arm wrap from Michael Leach? Not a huge amount. That shoulder to the side of the head. This is probably going to be a yellow card, at least, from Michael Leach here again. And is this on Sky by chance? It certainly is. Sky Sports Select. That's where you can find this one. Direct contact to the head. I've got a big decision to make here because they either no clear attempt to wrap. Doesn't sound like Michael Leach is going to have too much more of this game that he's going to be playing. If Sue's in the sin bin, a Leach hit sounds like a send-off. See Shack of Hearts and another high spot. Oof. I need to nip that right now before the World Cup, says the beta of everything. Exactly right. I think it's a red for Leach, says Sai. Shoulder connected with the head. They want a slow-mo of it. This angle, because there's a first tackler involved, it sounds like they may end up going with the yellow card. It does look bad in the slow-mo. The slow-mo has it that you can see like the sweat smashing off the head of the Samoan. Always upright. this is yellow minimum, but it's just that question of is it going to be yellow or is it going to be red for Michael Leach? If it's a shoulder charge and there's direct contact, he needs to be sent off, says Shack of Hearts. Michael Leach at number 8. He will be off the field for the rest of this game. He'll be disappointed in that one. But now Samoa, they will have the man advantage. Does a friendly or World Cup warm-up match count towards real rankings? It does normally, I believe. Michael Leach on off the field now. The Japanese crowd, a little bit of a gasp rather than Defo Red. As Red indeed says, Cyan, what's up, everyone? How are you doing? Rugby, doing very well, mate. Hope you're excited for the Rugby Championship. Of course, we will have to get some stuff filmed in the very near future, I would think, getting ready for that next week. But now with the man advantage for Samoa, now the Pacific Nations Cup, I'm not 100% sure whether or not that is going to be a red card for 20 minutes and they can bring on a sub, or whether it is a red card for the rest of the game and no replacement will be made. That could be a massive factor. And this one should just be a yellow. Says D-Boy beats. And red card says Trent in there as well. 50 minutes without him. So by the sounds of it, that is a red card for the rest of the game, which means 15 on 14 at this stage. It's not guaranteeing Samoa don't end up with a card of their own again throughout the later stages of this game. And now the back line of Japan starting to move quite nicely. Dylan Riley gets it off now into the hands of Yamanaku, who actually found himself out on the wing rather than being at fullback. Now quick sling and pass from Lee. Gets it off to Fakatava. 30 metres out from the line now for Japan. Going to the left. Lee, knock on there from Japan. And yeah, they're going back. I was confused for a second. Red for Japan, 100% agree. It was dangerous, deserving of red. It's the beta of everything. Ain't shame it's a red. Samoa will win this now. It's a tight game. I love Leach, but it's red. From my understanding, there is no replacing. And this might be the turning point for the Samoan. And who do you think will win this competition? To be honest, like Fiji are always going to be a top contender. Japan, if they can find their rhythm early on in the comp. Their last game is up against Fiji. So I think that game is actually probably going to be the determining factor in the competition. And also, we have got the straight off, says Shaq. Now, Jonathan Tamatini got the ball in. Scrummers look solid for Samoa. They've got that massive weight advantage and using every kilogram of it there. Now will be the number 8, Fasua, but he only gets one run before they decide to go back for another penalty. They said that there was a bit too much movement there in the scrum. Samoa will once again be able to kick this ball down the field. Talking about the momentum shift and also that penalty count against Japan. We've seen a lot of handling errors between both of the sides. That was a bit weird. They were showing Nika Bulla after there was a scrum penalty for wheeling, but I don't know whether or not it would have been his fault. Well, Japan, and the word Fiji scares us Welsh. Well, that's the thing. That is a tough group. You got Fiji, Australia, Georgia, who I feel should also be a little bit of a dark horse in it, and then Portugal, who aren't actually not too bad. Overseas, well, red card for Leach just scored up. Says Hanoi. So yeah, the man advantage now for Samoa. Alamanamatanga going off to Jonathan Tamatine. Does the no-look pass off to the big man again, Fa'asuo. Now Tamatine, flat ball. To Naria for Mai, long way off his wing. Another flat pass, brilliant ball. Going straight into the hands of Sutini. Looking to the short side now for Samoa. Alamanamatanga takes it to ground. Japan looking for the turnover in the breakdown. Another knock on from Japan. How many knock-ons is that now in this half? That is a huge number, not just for Samoa, not just for Japan, but both sides in general. And howdy, hope you're well. Also, AB's a boxer contest in Twickenham Stadium. Says Blues native Portugal almost beat both Japan and Italy over this past Rugby World Cup cycle, says the reviewer. So yeah, it's a very tricky group to predict. And Georgia have beaten Fiji twice in their last 2 tests, says Caleb. And I believe they had to draw the test match before that, Caleb, if I'm not wrong. Well, it was a draw somewhere along the line anyway. between Georgia and Fiji. Always an entertaining game to watch because stylistically they are so different. 53% possession for Samoa, another scrum. And to be honest, Japan are going to be their own worst enemy here. If they keep on dropping the ball, Samoa have won themselves a penalty advantage every single scrum throughout this fixture. FIJI does well to pick that ball up, but they are still playing the penalty advantage. Tamatine now gets the wide pass out to Danny Tuwala, who's close to the touchline, but just manages to stay in play. Matanga goes across now to Christian Liliafano, knocked backwards by Paoa. And they'll go back for the penalty once again. And yes, says Caleb. Okay, they've got 2 penalties. They are going to be taking another one here from 22 metres out. Samoa, they may consider post by the looks of it. Muliaina in the commentary box, he's not happy about it. He wanted them to keep on trying to get that dominance going that they've been able to find for themselves. Oh, no. The captain, that was Paul Aloamile. A prop said, no, we're not taking threes. We don't like threes. We want to try and drive them over the try line. If Samoa keep this game tight from the set piece, they will win this game. Says Check of Hearts and Benfica as a rugby club in Portugal. Says Hanoi, but now another opportunity for Samoa. About 10 metres out. They need a straight throw here from Latero Talai. Does play for Moana Pacifica. Then also alongside that, does actually have a little bit of a history in the Bunnings NPC. Bam. One of the men standing in the wrong place. Now that ball's been popped out the back. Nicely picked up, though, by Michael Curry. That is his first touch of the day. Another knock-on advantage against Japan. It's only a matter of time until they pretty much drop the ball straight into Samoa's hands and allow them to walk over the try line. Jonathan Tamatina, they have got numbers on the left-hand side. They look to just use their prop, though, at this stage with Jordan Lay trying to feed that ball back, place for the Blues and Super Rugby Pacific. Nice attack and run there from Taleni. So quickly recycled for Samoa, and they get over the line. Who managed to bulldoze? Not Alamana Matanga. It might be Jordan Lay who went in for the first try. They're showing Matanga, though. Was it Matanga or was it Jordan Lay? One of the two had the ball. And just please, no injuries. I already had Leach sent from the field last thing. They need is a sin bin, says Shack of Hearts. And Japan probably have got to be careful. They aren't reduced to 13. Okay, they're saying Alamana Matunga was the man who scored that try. So pick and go here. This angle will show it a lot better. Because Jordan Lay ended up right in the mix. Around the side, Taulini Sue and Alamana Matanga got up quickly, got the ball down, and Samoa, the first try of the match for them just before halftime. And like I mentioned, if Samoa can keep themselves right in this contest going into the second half, it's going to be very interesting to see how it develops with the second 40. Good physicality from Samoa, says Sai. Being aggressive, which is exactly what they need to do while they've got Japan dropping the ball and also just not quite playing their best rugby. That is when you've got to make the most of the opportunities. Christian Liliafano gets the kick over, and that will now make the score 10-10 between these two sides at 39 minutes through. Just driving hard at the line there. Alamana Matanga, he headbutted the ground to start him off. And from there was able to get that arm out from underneath him, outstretch. And the Moana Pacifica representative gets the first try. 2 minutes remaining in this half. I believe, depending on whereabouts we are on the field, Samoa wouldn't mind just booting this ball into touch if they were deep inside of their own 22. But I believe if they're in Japan's half, they are more than happy to try and go for one last try, depending on where this ends up going. Japan go for the shorter kickoff. Nicely taken by Taleni Sue. And now gets the legs pumping. Makes an extra of maybe 10 or so meters post-contact. Now, looks like Tamatine is going to send this one towards the roof again. Naria Famai chasing it hard, close to the touchline. Japan getting the hands to it. It was Yamanaka, but then did end up pushing the ball into touch. And going to be interesting second half. And I was like, Hippa, no, come on now. Says Blues Nate in there. And is it good to play these rugby friendly matches just before the World Cup? Injuries can happen for main players for their respective teams. I think it's like a lot of sports, how with World Cups, of course, everyone wants to be match fit, but sadly, there's always going to be those players who end up missing out. And, you don't want to go into a World Cup having not played for 3 or 4 months, or else it does look like what we saw for Argentina in the first game up against New Zealand. That first 40 minutes, they looked a little bit lost because they just hadn't been playing any rugby together as a team. So these are the games that you need to build chemistry, hope for no injuries. Is there a good crowd today? Not really, to be honest. For a Japanese game, I expected a few more people in attendance, but it's about 40%, maybe 50% in attendance at the stadium for this one. That's probably still quite a few people, though. It's just the fact that they have such large stadiums. Makes it hard to judge. There's the halftime siren sounding at the moment. Japan, I don't know why Tamatina went over the ball there. He almost ended up giving away the penalty for his player not rolling away. Japan, they do want to have the last crack of the half. Now Nagare, knock on from Kazuki Himeno. So they have ended the half in the exact same fashion as they have started, with a handling error. Naria Famai moves forward. Now Christian Leliafano making a few extra meters off the pick and go. Tamatine looks to the short side. Not a lot of space for Sutini, but he's been able to spin out not too badly here. And the rear for Mai. Again, dragged down by Nagari. Looking to the left here. The Tiro Tole goes across, bounce pass. Danny Tawala looking for the cross kick, and it's gone straight into the hands of the big man. Number 8 now getting the pass. One more out wide. Might have just kept it in the field of play to Manu, which now means there's a knock-on advantage to Japan. They will boot the ball into touch, and that is going to be the end of the half. 10 points to 10. Close first 40 minutes, and both sides looking relatively tired here. Michael Leach looks disappointed for having to sit in the naughty chair for the rest of the game. It could be the turning point in this fixture between the two sides, but we saw one try for Japan. We saw one try scored for Samoa. Alamanda Matunga, the man who was able to get the opportunity for the Samoans, and then it was Amato Fakatava of Japan, who not only managed to get himself one try, but also a line break alongside it. Very strong here late, says Daddy Bear. And Naughty Chilo says just some guy. But the second half, probably about 10 minutes away, somewhere around there. So anyone who doesn't know the way that the table is sitting currently, the Fijians are at the top of the bunch. I'm just going to have a very quick look to see whether or not they receive the bonus point for scoring 4 tries, or whether it is 3 or more than your opposition in this competition as well. The 3 Ds, Manu Samoa, defense is 1, discipline is 2, and tackles is number 3. I think it's a good crowd, but it's not Hanazano or the other major Tokyo Rugby Stadium, which is smaller stadiums. And Leach got carded. He did indeed for a shoulder charge to the head of the Samoa number 8. Did end up with the rib. We also saw Talini Su, getting the yellow card as well. And more Dackle. Aisle 19. Well, and Japan are really up against it. A man down. Samoa have come to play today. Says Ask Robinson. And I have faith we Wales will do okay at the World Cup, especially after seeing Wales train. Gatlin is beasting the players hard. And will you be doing previews for the teams at the World Cup? That is the plan. Once all the squads are announced, we will be, of course, letting you guys know them. And then alongside that, trying our best to give you who we think are the keys. And probably, to be honest, a starting lineup prediction, everything along those lines for certain teams as well will be an option getting forward. But that is similar to what we have got next week for the Rugby Championship coming back underway. It is going to involve, on Monday, we are going to have the video of us predicting the South African starting lineup. On Tuesday, we are going to end up having the South African lineup announcement. Wednesday, the prediction for the All Blacks. Thursday, the All Blacks announcement. and then also the Wallabies in there as well. Yes, it's going to be a good game. Good game of rugby to watch between the All Blacks and Australia, and also Argentina taking on South Africa. Samoa can move up to ninth in the world rankings if they win by 16 or more. They're currently 12th, says the reviewer. And I would advise Wales to fill their number one lineup for Fiji. Can't risk losing that, says debater. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one to see how they set their side for Fiji and how they set their side for Georgia. Because arguably two sides that play very differently, but both will really take a lot out of you as a side. Oh, I'm excited. So I can announce that Fiji received 5 points for their Pacific Nations Cup game. They had a points differential of plus 16. I believe they were able to score themselves 5 tries, whereas Tonga only scored 2. So I believe this competition is 3 or more tries, then your opposition does get you the bonus point. And that is exactly what Samoa or Japan will be looking to do here. Only 1 try apiece, though, throughout the early stages of the fixture. We're seeing 2 successful kicks from both of the number 10s. Swinson Lee getting 2 from 2, and also Christian Leliafano on debut getting his 2 from 2 also. But do let me know now, ladies and gentlemen, with it being 15 versus 14 here, do you see Samoa going on, using that to their advantage and getting the victory? Or do you see Japan being able to fight back in this contest? I feel like there's a little bit, for me, it could go either way. To be honest, there's a good chance that we see the Samoans get themselves 1 or 2 more tries, but I still feel like Japan with this backline, if they can get it out there, that's the big problem for both of these sides. We haven't seen anywhere near the best rugby from either Samoa or Japan. Too many handling errors. Japan, they're almost up to double figures. Samoa, they're sitting on about 7 or 8 handling errors throughout that first half. So if Japan can start hanging on to that ball, then we start to see Kotaro Matsushima getting involved. We start to see Naikabula get their hands on the ball. I think Samoa has a better chance now, says Sai. I'm changing my vote to Samoa. He's our debater of everything in there as well. But yeah, the big thing is hanging on to that ball, both sides. How slippery is that ball? It's very slippery, apparently, even though they are playing in dry conditions. I don't know whether or not it's that physicality that is happening that is making it a little bit more challenging for the sides, because I know that for Tamua Manu, he had the ball in hand and then he just got straight into him, and then that made the ball go flying out of the hands. Hope comes out strong and not gassed, says Onu. Yeah, the benches, another important factor in this contest, which could be game changers. Looking through at the benches that these two sides have gone with. For Japan, it is Hori, Miller, and Kakinaka at number 18, Hilu at number 19, and also Fuki at number 20. So those are the replacement forwards in the backs. They have got Saito, who is a brilliant player, quite quick around the side of the breakdown. Perhaps can get that little bit more go forward that Japan are after with less of the handling errors. Matsuda, good option for them as well as the replacement fly half, although at this stage, I'd say Swinson Lee hasn't done too much wrong. So they may look to make that change relatively late. And then also Osada, the last man for Japan. Off the bench for Samoa, they've got Ray Nuia, they've got Tai Tuimanga, and Charlie Famuina making his debut in this match. Mamia Lamaro at number 19 with Miracle Faialangi, the young, talented player. He was great in the under-19s, I believe, for the Samoans. Got the opportunity for Moana Pacifica and also was able to make the most of the opportunity. Editara Inori, a replacement halfback. Kalapusi at number 22, and Ed Fidel does play for Manawatu in the Bunnings NBC, which is very close to starting back up here in New Zealand. He is there as the closing man for the Samoans. We have got a donation from Ice Cartel. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated. Yeah, been enjoying the rugby so far. We have on head on today. I should say, what's up, Hamish? You mad egg. There's Nate Dog. Hello, Nate Dog. I don't know what my nickname for you is. I didn't know my nickname was your mad egg, though, but I'll take it. I feel like it works kind of well. My head is quite oval-ish shaped. It's definitely not, like, it's not square, but it's also very straight up and down. I like a skinny egg. I guess you could say Leach is Japan's talisman. Without him, they struggle, says Sai. And also, we will need to field our best for all the games by the looks of it. Australia not looking that great at the moment either. I think Samoa might pinch this. Looking at the positions and the turnover stats, handling errors 8 and 8 for these two sides. 61% possession for the Samoans. Japan actually have a higher tackle completion rate, we've seen, but Samoa, they have actually lost 3 of their lineouts. Scrums lost. We've seen 1 lost by Japan and 1 lineout lost, and then 5-0 in the scrum department for Samoa when they've had their own feed. And Fido is the featured winger for our MLR team New York. CSI, and yeah, he's a very good player. Fido, and hopefully does go well in the second half when they bring him on. Is it just me or is Samoa looking pretty decent, says D-Boy Beats? It might just be a little bit, only because they have dropped the ball 8 times in this one and given away a few penalties. But I feel like when they have been able to hang on to that ball and they start shifting that ball around, they have looked very dangerous. I just want to see more of that rather than the ball going down, I think is the big thing for them because, yeah, 8 handling errors and a half up against a side other than Japan, a side that's going to punish you for your mistakes. That could become a little bit costly. How much snowfall happens in your region? Not that much for us down here, but like we've got hills next to us that if it's cold enough and if it's looking like snowy weather, they get a little bit of snow. Like we probably had snow 2 days ago up there, but it's just up above sea level. So we don't really get it at sea level too often. For also the Samoan and Japan flags from Ice Cartel, and both teams will meet again at the Rugby World Cup 2023. Different sides on today, says Nate. And yeah, I guess it is quite cool to see that there is going to be a prelim for that one when they go head to head. In fact, other than this game, there aren't many prelims for the Rugby World Cup that we actually see. A lot of the other games are between sides that aren't playing each other in the near future. 8 knock-ons in one half sounds normal for Pacific Rugby, says the beta of everything. And Japan might come out flying. Yep. I think that they'll use that rear card as ammo, and they'll use that as a mentality booster of, right, we're up against it here, so we need to play with precision. We need to have less errors because that first half, having 8 for Japan, if they were playing up against the All Blacks XV like they were not too long ago, and they had 8 handling errors, they would have been punished heavily. And the worst thing for them is every time they've dropped the ball and it's gone to a scrum, Samoa have got themselves the penalty advantage from the scrum because of how strong their fallback has been. And no, not much, boss. Prelims game, says Blues Nate. Yeah, Scotland play Italy. That is one that's coming up, but that isn't a match that's taking place. I'm assuming this is Samoa's main squad. Not quite. They've got quite a few players out, the likes of Stephen Luatua, Lema Sapawanga, Michael Alatoa, Jordan Taufua, D'Angelo Leula. So they've got some players missing, but yeah, they'll slowly get added back in, I'd say, as we get closer to the World Cup. What other games have we got next month in August? Italy versus Romania. I don't think that's a prelim. No, it's not. Scotland play France. That's not a prelim. Yeah, I think this game, to be honest, is actually one of the only ones that we see the sides that are in the same pool going head to head. Because just scrolling through, there aren't really too many other ones. Italy, Japan, no, not quite. Yeah, so this is pretty much the only game that we see between two sides in the same Rugby World Cup pool. Japan just taking a few last deep breaths before they make their way back out onto the field and look to put up a big fight here up against the Japanese. Or sorry, up against the Samoans. They probably shouldn't fight themselves. That won't help for the second half. Although, if you shoulder charge your teammate, you don't get a red card. Too soon. Michael Leach red carded in that first half. We saw the yellow card for Talini Su. He is now back out on the field. Kazuki Himano. I'm wondering whether or not they'll have a bit of a reshuffle there, same pool. That is very interesting. There's the beta of everything. And they will also be alongside Argentina, England, and the last team in their group, I believe, is Chile. See a few people with Michael Leach on a sign there in the crowd. They would have loved to see him in action for a little bit longer. Then we did get to see him. I love that the Pacific Island teams these days are stacked with overseas experience, says Daddy Bear. And it's great to see that, like, the Pacific Island players, it used to only be a very small margin when overseas. Now people have realized how dangerous those Pacific Island players can be. And, like, you look through the top 14, every side almost has at least one Pacific Island players, mainly the Fijian fellows. For France, whether you're looking through at Tuisova, whether you're looking at Noya Thalevu, the four packs, there's a few other blokes, Lavani Bortia, Noah Habosi as well. So, yeah, it's great to see that Pacific Island players are getting the opportunities overseas. For Tonga, you look at Charles Piatel, a few of those other forwards been playing their rugby in the Northern Hemisphere. Now we've got the last minute interview before the second half gets underway. I believe that's Tony Brown saying the red card made it hard for ourselves, and Samoa are a powerful team. Try and keep the game fast. Keep trying to play Japan rugby, is what Tony Brown, the head coach of Japan, has just said. Or sorry, the assistant coach. And that's all well and good, but they have to make sure that that position is in their favour, and also the handling. It's going to be so crucial. If they can hang on to the ball, they are going to be in a very good position of getting themselves off to a great start in the second half. But if they keep dropping the ball, it's going to make it a massive mountain to climb for Japan here. Samoa, sure they are excited to see what they can do in this next 40 minutes. But I will mention anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We have still got another live stream a little bit later on tonight. That is going to be the match between Australia and England in the cricket. That is for day 4 of the Ashes. And I believe after that, our next live stream, other than the cricket tomorrow possibly, is going to be on Saturday next week, I think, is actually the next game that we have got for a live stream, and that will actually be Samoa versus Fiji. So a big game to come back to. Be sure to check that out as well. Japan in the huddle, ready to go for the second half of rugby action. Samoa, I would say that for them, of course, the handling errors, they can cut those out. They will be very dangerous in this half. And I feel for them, it's almost a case of just use those forwards that little bit more. We've seen them get some good go forward. Faso, you wouldn't think he was on his debut because the way he has played, he's looked like an experienced veteran out there for Manu Samoa. Michael Curry, we've only seen touch the ball a couple times. Matange and Taleni Su. I think those two are going to be very handy as well. So they are just talking about the fact that red cards, no longer in international rugby in any competition that I know of, are going to have the red card for 20 minutes. But Samoa managing to claim that ball. The start of the second half, it was Taleni Su. Now Jonathan Tamatine, rolling it back. Ball high. Similar to how we actually started in the first half, although that kick, has it gone out on the full? No, it hasn't gone out. So Japan keeping this ball in the field, play a nice run forward from Kotaro Matsushima, looking to use this one to the right-hand side here. Japan, they're looking to start fast just like they did in that first half. They had Fakatava scored very early. Now, wide cutout pass. Nice bit of work. Big bump offs, I should say, for Japan. Now to the left, Lee. Short ball goes off to Fakatava again. He is a sensational talent for Japan, and the penalty goes the way of Japanese. I believe they'll consider taking the 3 here. Very early on in the half. It will give them the lead back for the first time of the 40 minutes. Now, Stinson Lee, he's been pretty decent with the kicking tee. Sitting 2 from 2 so far throughout today. But Fakatava, he has been an X-factor player here for Japan. Just off to the right. Very nicely done for Fakatava. And then Tamatine trying to get over the ball. But ended up having his hands down first. And wait, what red card rules have changed, says Daddy Bear. So there was a little stint in international rugby, or at least some competitions around the world, that they were having a 20-minute red card. But they have confirmed now that the more official people have said that that's no longer going to be a thing. That is the kick over from Lee. Now giving Japan the lead in the early stages of the second half, 13 points to 10. That will make Tony Brown, Jamie Joseph just that little bit happier having the points on the board. They need another try though. Out them out. How can I watch the match in the UK? Says Toby C. Unfortunately, there don't seem to be too many options in the UK for being able to watch. Your best bet in terms of location wise is probably Flow Rugby, but I'm not sure whether or not that's completely available in all of the UK. I think only Super Rugby Pacific is 20-minute red cards now. Says Sai. Yeah, a lot of other competitions did take them out, including this one. The Pacific Nations Cup. Japan inside of their 22. Nagare puts it back into the pocket. This time it was Yamanaka who gets a brilliant kick downfield off his left boot. It is his favoured foot. And Samoa now inside of their own half. They have to try and work their way forward. Samoa, they have got Fiji next week. Tonga have got Japan, and that will be a good game to watch. I believe Tonga would have pretty much headed north almost straight after their game up against the Flying Fijians, or they may actually leave tomorrow or the next day, I think, so they can get accustomed to the Japanese conditions. Currently 45 meters out from the line. Japan still in possession. Looks like Nagare asking for some cover for the box kick. It's a high just outside of the 22. That is the perfect length of a kick, but even better taken by Naria Fomai. Now Jonathan Tamatina goes off to the left. Don't tell Eddie Jones the Samoa's beating. Says Daddy Bear there. The media, they know how to push his buttons, don't they? That was a mistake from Danny Tuala inside of his own 22. The ball was put back in the pocket to him, but he has dropped it. He didn't put down too much in the first half. Just straight through, possibly looking where he wanted to kick it rather than catching that ball first. And Japan in a brilliant position on the field now, only a few meters out, a few meters inside of Samoa's 22. Now Japan needs to capitalize from this knock on. Says Shy. Oh, sorry, says Sai, I should say. Playing with 14 men. I mentioned how early on in the second half they had to go out there and they had to be, I mean, I don't know if scrappy's the right word, but they had to be right in the fight. And that's what they've been able to do so far. Hone Naika Bull is on the side of the scrum here. Now, Nagari goes across to the brilliant number 12, Shogo Nakano. Now they've got another penalty advantage, do they? The referee had his arm out for half a second and then took it back. But Samoa unable to get the turnover in the breakdown. Nagari goes off to James Moore. Now 4 meters out from the line for the Japanese, throwing everyone at the line. I believe there was Kazuki Himino around the side of the breakdown, but Uliapano Sutini, the man who has been penalised this time for offside. Well, they are still playing under penalty advantage. Fakatava driven backwards by 1. Nagari goes off to Kazuki Himino again. Wrestled down well. Samoan defense trying to stay solid. It was their captain, Paul Alo Emile, to help Samoa. They have been caught out here, though, because Japan, they had about 6 men on the left, and every single one of them ran to the right-hand side. But now, Samoa's side have been able to cover. 10 meters out from the line now. Nagari looking for that best option. That's going to be going back for the original penalty. Solid defense is just some guy saying, Japan, they have 3 points if they do want it. The question is, do they want it? Or would they rather go for the corner? They will take the smart option, get the 3 points, and get a 6-point lead up against Samoa now. And they are just rewarding themselves for some good play. 6 minutes into the second half, we have already seen better ball movement than we saw from Japan throughout the whole first 40 minutes almost with those forwards. Japan now have another opportunity to extend their lead. Lee wanting to take his time here. Doesn't want to rush this kick. Yeah, he's got that one over also. That will now make the score 16 points to 10. So a much better start to the second half for Japan here. So some deep breaths being taken by both sides. Game's being played at a high tempo, and I believe that will be the case throughout the whole rest of the contest. Samoa will be trying to wear down Japan with that one-man disadvantage that they find themselves with. And if they can keep this ball moving around quickly, like Tony Brown said, he wants the ball moving quick. And so far, the handling has been a lot better, which has meant that they've been able to not just move that ball around fast, but they've also been able to create opportunities. Nakamura taking that one inside of the 22, 14 men, 6 points, decent effort. Now short ball, Nagari. Gets it off Japan. Looking to put this one back into the pocket to Nagare. Charged down by Samoa and Jonathan Tamatena. He almost broke his ankle in the process. But Samoa get themselves another try in this fixture. And you can see there, I didn't need a translator to know what what Yamanaka said there. He said a 4-letter word and it starts with F. And he's not happy. Charge down, Tamatine. Normally you see the big locks trying to get that charge down. Tamatine gets over the line. 2 Moana Pacifica boys scoring these 2 tries first. And Yamanaka, as soon as that happened, there was no one back to cover. Great try from Manu Samoa, says Sai, and nice says Blues Nate. We're just checking this one, see whether or not the try, there's any reason to disallow it, but it has been awarded. 1 for Jonathan Tamatene in 2023 for Samoa. And that is a good way to get back into the match because that was right when Japan started finding their rhythm. And that is something that, as a player, when you feel like you're starting to get the better of an opposition and then something like that happens and you concede the try, that gets to you a little bit. So now Japan have to try and say, right, we'll forget about that one. We just need to play like we were just prior to that. And far out, this is a good game, says Daddy Bear. And go Manu Samoa, says Tonga Island. And now what was that letter starting with F? Can anyone predict? Says Coding, and beautiful kick. Says just some guy. I think you're a little bit ahead of me. Just some guy, maybe. He's just about to take it for me. Gets plenty of height on it for Lelefano, but it does go over. And it now means that Samoa, they take the lead. That is actually for the first time in this game as well, I should mention. They have been close. They've been drawing, but now 1 point advantage in favour of Samoa. It's going Yamanaka. They're saying the first mistake he's made, but can you completely blame him for that one? Yes, he got charged down. I don't think he took a huge amount of time to kick it either. I think it was just that little bit of extra pressure. Pass didn't quite get there quick enough, and he also didn't quite get the angle right. But Samoa now in position 30 metres out from their line. Jonathan Tamatena goes across to Alamanamatanga. And let's go Samoa, says Nanai. And there, Jonathan Tamatena, try scorer most recently. Now has been told to use it, puts it high. And it's close to the touchline here, and it's out on the full from Samoa. So once again, this is the scenario of Japan had the momentum after getting a couple penalties. They concede the try. Samoa have the momentum after scoring the try. They kick the ball out on the full. So now it's the opportunity for Japan to be able to take it straight back in the momentum swing. And thanks for the live updates from Brisbane, mate. Says Samsung S22 Plus. No worries at all. I have a question. Is that a good phone? Because my phone has almost stopped working, unfortunately. So I may have to look at an upgrade. Would a Samsung S22 Plus? I don't even know if that's the newest one, to be honest. I don't even know what iPhone they're up to at the moment. Now 38 meters out from their own line. Here comes Samoa again. We mentioned about that position stat, how important that could be in the later stages. Nicely regathered by Paul Aloamile just to go on and then drop the ball anyway. About 2 seconds later, now Japan looking to shift it to the left. Finds the offload. Quick hands out to Kozuki Himeno. Now Sagari. Oh, sorry. Nagari, I should say. Rather than Sa. I combined 2 of the players' names. Now Driven backwards again. Good physicality from Alamanda Matanga. Flicks the ball out the side. It sits up now for the big man, Taleni Su. Tries to flick it out the back, and he does manage to find the hands of Tamua Manu. Another step there. Thought about the offload, and now finds it. The Jonathan Tamatine. Jordan Lay involved in the back line. Now kicked him behind from Ulepanu Sutini. Takes it nicely, 10 metres out from the line. Now Samoa, they have a decision to make. Who is going to be the man that they try and throw at the line? I mentioned how I wanted to see them use their forwards a little bit more than they did in the first half. It's going to be Latiro Tule. Has his ankles taken out from underneath him. Lee, of course. Oh, it's an interception pass thrown by Tawala. Taken back now by Matsushima, but he's smashed in the tackle. And it's another knock on from Japan. Picked up by Tamua Manu, now slinging it off to the right. Another knock on, this time from Samoa. And it's going to be a scrum, I believe, to Samoa in this one. And go Japan, go. And also we have got there ball so slippery, and go Samoa, go says Samoa. And also we have got there definitely due to a phone, or definitely due for a phone upgrade too. He suggests and says 19. And also we have got there Hamish, any idea what happened with the jerseys? I think Samoa was supposed to wear the blue one, not their alternate white jerseys. Weird. We thought the same thing when they walked out onto the field. To be honest, I feel like this blue alternate strip actually clashes more than the blue that they have in their home kit. So I don't know if it's something to do with the home and the away side of things. But I would have thought if you were away from home, but it didn't clash, normally the logical thing to do is to still have that kit. So I don't know whether or not there's something to do with, I don't know if it's like a special thing that they're doing with the alternate kit, but yeah, we weren't too sure. See Ray Nuia now out on the field for Samoa, and also I should mention that Aloha Mila has gone off, and the 50 or the over 50 cap, Charlie Faumuina of the All Blacks, makes his way onto the field now. 36 years of age, they've just mentioned 10 handling errors for Japan, 9 for Samoa. So both sides will look at that stat and say that was far too many for either of us. And they will have to make sure that they do well in their next contest. Like I mentioned, Japan, they are going to be taking on the Tongans. And then for Samoa, they are going to be taking on Fiji. Must be a world record. Tell you what, it's right up there in terms of the most scrums I have seen, or the most knock-ons I have seen in a singular game of rugby in a long time. I'm trying to think of the last game, and I think the last one was probably, oh, here's something though. Japan have won the scrum feed, or won the scrum against the feed. And a good point. Our home and away kit. Someone should have still confirmed that. Professional rugby, says BP. And nowhere near, says Sai. At least in the games recently we've commentated, it's a lot more drop balls than we've seen. I was going to make a joke, but I decided not to. But it involved drop balls, so you can probably picture what it was going to be. And well, a good comeback, says Viali. Hopefully I said that correctly. I think I mispronounced it last time too, didn't I? That's a good kick downfield from Japan, about 15 metres out from the line. Tamatine, he was calling for his side to keep scrummaging, but I believe it was on the far side, which would have been, I think, Jiwangu's side. Now Sakate. Another line-out opportunity here for Japan. Still 25 minutes remaining in this fixture. Nicely claimed by the replacement number 20. Oh, injury here for Christian Lealiafano. He has stayed down. I believe something to do with either rib or arm. And yeah, you did say it correctly. From Cornelison. He's a player we haven't seen too much of. Saito also on the field now for Japan. And Fuki has made his way on for Nakano. Decided to get rid of their centre for the sake of having another attacking option in their forward back. And Fuki now doing not too badly with his first carry. Driven sideways, another advantage against the Samoans. They will look to use this one quickly. They're playing advantage. Now nice stepping from Nakamura. Okay, they're going back for the penalty. Number 5, a tackle off the ball, I believe they've said there against Michael Curry. Fuki. They have made the change now of taking out Shogo Nakano. I wonder, was he on the field for Kui for that scrum? Maybe. Not sure. But Japan, they do want to go for the 3 points here again to give them the lead back. Should be a relatively easy kick for Seunsin Lee. He does decide to go for it. And Samoa's defending in their own 22 has been so great today, says Sai. Yeah, I think both sides defensively have had some very good patches. And it's been more with just the amount of penalties and the amount of handling errors that we've seen that have caused more of the tries to be scored. Like we saw the mistake from Japan with that charge down of Jonathan Tamatene, but Samoa on attack for Alamana Matunga's try when they were just back to back to back phases, getting it going. That one has gone over from Lee. Now makes the score 19 points to 17. Japan take the lead back as Leach still off for the red card. He is. It is going to be the full rest of the game that Leach is off. So that is why they've taken off their inside centre and then had Fuki as the man who makes his way on. The way the game is going, you think Samoa would be the team with 15 players, not Japan? Says BP. And hats off to Japan for not mentally giving up with 14 players on the field. And that's the beauty of the way that Japan sometimes play, is they've got passion. And I said about it at the start of the second half, they needed to go out there aggressive and as if they had their backs against the wall. And I mean, they haven't been able to score a try as of yet in the second half, but they've got 3 sets of 3 from the penalties. It's a 2-point lead though. Now putting it back into the pocket. No one charging down this time for the kick downfield of Yamanaka. Doesn't find the touchline though, just outside of the 22 for Samoa. Denny Tawala will put the ball high. Now this is going to be an awkward one to try and take, but nicely taken by the youngster there, Kotaro Matsushima. Returns a kick of his own down into the 22 of Manu Samoa. And now, putting the kick into touch, Lelefano gets it down towards the halfway line. Japan were asking, saying he was outside of the 22. Referee shrugged it off pretty quickly. Neither man willing to take the mark. Everyone wants to keep this ball alive by the looks of it. How's it, Chahu? Says, keep it sticky. And Lamanu says, keep it sticky as well. But yeah, anyone who is new to the channel, I should mention, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We've got plenty more Pacific Nations Cup coming up. We will be covering all of the games of the Rugby World Cup in only a month and a bit's time as well. And that includes the rematch of this one. There's going to be Japan taking on Samoa. I do see that Miracle Whailangi is on the field now for Samoa. And also Ed Fidel has made his way out there. Like someone mentioned earlier on, plays his rugby at the moment in the MLR. Also has been a handyman for Manawatu in the Bunnings NPC. Rolling ball for Japan starting. They didn't make a huge amount of meterage off it in the end. Nice little step from Lee. Decides to have a bit of a crack with the attack rather than shifting it straight away. And that could be because they have got a different man on the outside. Now he's got to try and work in with Dylan Riley, who has been quiet throughout this game so far, I will admit. Been put high from Japan for the box kick again. Azima Mio Lamaro has also made his way out onto the field, and that is going to be for Eleni Usi, I should say. And Fidel on the field for Naria Fumai. Japan back in position, 45 meters out from Samoa's line. Just looking to find those next passes that could create the opportunity. Quick hands out to the left-hand side. Dylan Riley decides to go with the kick in behind. It's a clever kick because we haven't actually seen them try that too much throughout this match so far. And Liliafano manages to keep his hands on the ball, but the steal and the breakdown, it was Dylan Riley who gets over it and wins the penalty for Japan. I believe now they will look to take another 3 points. You think Japan having the 2 warm-up games have helped them be more cohesive as opposed to Samoa with no games? Absolutely. I think that it's the same case of what we saw for New Zealand versus Argentina in the Rugby Championship. Not so much due to playing as an international side, but just playing rugby can be hugely beneficial. All those guys from New Zealand have been playing Super Rugby Pacific back to back to back to back, whereas for the Argentines. They hadn't really been playing too much rugby. Some of the guys overseas, the NDL, Santos, I respect it. King Kenny getting himself the win over Winderson Nunes not too long ago in the boxing side of things. A good game for our Samoan. Says Tonga Island, and also Ultana hit the boys with handbags if they lose, says Anoi. And also, we have got the Ed Fidel's on for Samoa, says Sai certainly is. A Manu Samoa, go boys. There's Sefo in there as well. Now 20 minutes remaining. Japan another chance to add the 3 points. Watching from the outback, Northern Territory, Australia, says Leandra. It is hugely appreciated you being here for this stream. We've got plenty more coming in the near future. Who are you going for in this game, Leandra? Do let me know. Spammer says the beta and also flags up. Says I and quick spamming dude. Says Annoy there as well. But it looks like Shitahori has now made his way onto the field. The kick is successful. So it now makes the score 22 points to 17. Favour of Japan with only 19 minutes remaining. Craig Miller, he is now out there for Japan. I don't think there's too many changes that haven't been made yet. I think I just heard that Matsuda has also made his way onto the field, or if he hasn't, he's about to, because we've just seen a knock on, unfortunately, from number 10. Come on now, Si, no spoilers. Here's BP. Yeah, you may have been a little bit early compared to myself. That's because I'm on Sky Sport now, though, I guess. It is quite slow compared to elsewhere, because there is about a 40-second delay. And after Sports Samoa, our fellow South Pacific, says Leandra. Samoa, Fiji. It's going to be a great game next week. I believe it's an afternoon kickoff on Saturday, New Zealand time, and we will be covering that game before Australia versus New Zealand. And then after that, following up with South Africa versus Argentina. Hey, Samoa, says just some dude. And also, how can the PI get more cash than the IRB? I have no idea what that means. Oh, great run down the wing for Samoa Tamua Manu, I should say. Breaking through, scores the try in Samoa. Now they are back to 22 to 22. How many times have these sides been drawing in this game? They were 10-10, now they're 22-22. And with less than 22 minutes remaining, only the 16. It's anyone's game. But Tamatena went to the short side. Once again, a strong scrum from Samoa. Ended up being one-on-one in the missed tackle on the outside from Matsushima. Disappointed with that tackle attempt. Just got bumped off and ran down the wing to Tamua Manu. Gets the try for Samoa. Well, says Sai. Enjoy the kick at next week. Cadbury Picnic. Says Blues Nan, and also the Samoa flags from NLAs. Yeah, I hope you guys are all enjoying the coverage. You guys will be very sick of me talking by the end of these streams, I am sure, because we talk very fast, and that's about it, to be fair. And nice try, says Buller. And also, thanks for the live stream commentary, mate. No live coverage here in Australia. This is the next best thing. Says hold the phone blocker. I can't believe they aren't showing it in Australia, although apparently NITV still has this game, just like they had Fiji versus Tonga by the sounds of it. And also 22-22 with 22 left, no way, not quite, a little bit less than the 22. Still 16 minutes remaining. Now Christian Leleofano line up this one, taking his time, and it's an important kick for the Samoans. The way he's been striking them today, gone straight down the middle once again, handling the pressure very nicely. And Samoa now set 24 points to 22. Samoa, they seem to be relatively nervous in the coaching box. Same with Japan. NITV don't have it. Huh. See, it's crazy to think that with so many Japanese and Samoan people living in Australia that they wouldn't be showing this game. And not in Victoria, at least. And we have got another donation from Ice Cartel. It is a super sticker. Unfortunately, it doesn't pop up on the screen, but comes up with the super sticker writing. But thank you very much once again, Ice Cartel. Hugely appreciated. And it got a TV show about lobster fishing in the Tyres Strait. Nice. Very educational by the sounds of it then. Downfield from Samoa, Japan now with this ball. 15 metres out from their own line. It has gone high. Awkward one today for Christian Laliafano, but being able to claim it quite nicely. He has had a very good debut, almost a dream start to his Samoan career. 15 minutes ago on my feed, says Si. Yeah, it is now 15. For myself, sounds like we've got a penalty to Samoa. 20 red did this, apparently. I don't think you're allowed to do that. Sport or otherwise. What does that mean? Oh, I think Bruce on the sideline wants to actually have a bit of a chat. Oh no, now he's run away. He was just trying to show where the mark was. I got a shock when Fiji versus Tonga was on in ITV. But yeah, Japan versus Samoa not on there, unfortunately. It's off to you, TKL. It's not easy calling Samoa Japan names. See, Tonga, hopefully we haven't done too badly so far. Some of them roll off the tongue pretty nicely, but others a little bit more of a struggle. I mean, Elena Usi was one of the ones that didn't quite want to come off the way we wanted. His kick downfield, though, for Samoa. Looks like there was a bit of an injury there for Jiwan Gu, but he looks like he's going to continue for just a little bit longer before they look to bring out Kakinaga. And by that, I mean about 4 seconds because Kakinaga now has run his way out onto the field. And sorry, just letting out a donate first time noob. Says Ice Cartel. No, it's hugely appreciated, mate. Thank you very much. And hopefully you're enjoying those super stickers and whatnot that they do let you use. And they're now going off to the left-hand side, big drive forward from, I believe that would have been the Samoan, number 20. No, in fact, it would have been Mamia Lamaro, just because number 20 is Miracle Whaialangi, who's a little bit smaller. Yeah, the other man, Faith. And there's 15 minutes for me too. There's just some guy, Samoa, sitting 30 meters out. Going back off to the right. Now, Miracle Whaialangi this time ends up with the ball. Ray Nuia in behind now. Looking close to the touchline, but Martinez was able to just stay in the field of play. This is good face play at the moment for Samoa, just slowly creeping a little bit closer towards that 22, and they have got numbers on the side, but Miracle Whaialangi puts the ball down, and now Japan with a counter-attacking opportunity. Yamanaka decides to send it downfield on the left boot. Was it out on the full? Went out on the full. Unfortunately, Yamanaka, just a couple late poor kicks have cost them a bit. Finally, Samoa's bench starting to come on front 5, especially been gas since the 46th minute. Says BP, a massive says Si, and you're all good, my guy. Says Blues Nate there. Well, yeah, they're cool. 13 minutes remaining. 2 points difference. This game is very close. I think if Samoa can get themselves a converted try here, it would almost be enough. There's a large chance that we don't see that happen. And instead, for this game, I bet you Samoa will miss their next kick. And we could see a 27-27 draw here. Or, sorry, 29-29 draw could be on the cards. But Japan end up disrupting the line out, and they do get the ball back now for them. I really thought there was going to be a 50-22. It looked like the ball was going to land in the field of play, but just ended up drifting. And let's go Salala Jr. Nicely taken. Ed Fidel wrestled down. Japan looking for the counter ruck there with, I believe it would have been Fuki. He's being told no. Eritara Inuri also on the field for Samoa. I almost said Moana Pacifica, but of course, him and Jonathan Tamatine doing a lot of the work. Oh, great run from Ray Nui, the big man. He's got plenty of pace, almost stepped the fullback Yamanaka there, but it's another knock on from Samoa, Alamana Matonga. And now Japan have another crack. They are just outside of their own 22, looking to boot this one long. Down space, just outside of the Samoan 22 now. Back down the field. Samoa win. I'll super chat $100, says Vixen. I mean, that would be very impressive, that is for sure. Although I've had people in the past who have been like, I'll do this, and then they don't do it. But, I mean, even just your watching is awesome. I do thank you very much for tuning in. Holds the ball loose. Also, the clapping from Ice Cartel, and yep, they are, says hold the phone blocker. And Samoa are the defending Pacific Nation Cups champs, right, Hamish? Or am I tripping? I believe so. I think last year they got the victory. What did they get the victory over Fiji? I think they did. Well, they did enough in their other games to be able to finish top of the table, I believe. Both teams had a great run from a rampaging forward. I think to lose it later, says Sai. Your handling, once again, is going to be the main word for the last 10 minutes of this game. Rain Nuia wanting to drive. Lee has been taken off the field for Matsuda. So that means a kicking change will be taking place for Japan now. This will be a massive win for the Samoans. Jordan Lay throwing it straight to him, and he just dropped it. Unfortunately, it's these rookie errors from both teams that could be make or break for them. Right. Sounds like there is going to be now some water to be added onto the field, just one from each team. Tried to limit the amount of stoppages that we have seen throughout this one. And Jaco Vandenberg has said, love close games, best entertainment. Exactly right. Games that go down to the wire. One that comes to mind straight away is Australia versus Argentina. That one was about as close as it could have been. And you just add so much more to the overall excitement of the games, and you just never know who's going to win, which is always fun watching from a neutral perspective. Big crowd in Sapporo. From what you can see in the coverage, it doesn't look as full as I thought it would be. There's quite a few seats straight on that don't have people in them, probably around kind of this region. But I believe they've got quite a few on the near side and around the sides. Probably about I'd say 50% of the crowd full, but it is a large stadium, so probably still quite a good number in there. That's going to be backwards. Now Matsuda does kick it downfield, looking for the chip and chase. It sits up now for Samoa, but a lot of pressure there on Ed Fidel. Kazuki Himeno diving into the breakdown, trying to protect it, but the penalty goes the way of Samoa. Player crawling, and it was an Ian Fuki. He does get penalised. But every breakdown at the moment, I'm just expecting to see a knock on due to the pressure that both sides are creating. And more people sitting closer to the field. There's just some guy, exactly right. Everyone's kind of moved forward. There are still quite a few empty seats around. Which, to be honest, I thought this game might have been a sellout, but doesn't seem to be the case for it. But that one's kicked into touch by Samoa, currently with a lead of 2. They want to extend that to 9, similar to what we saw for Fiji for a majority of their game up against Tonga near the end. They did have that little bit more of a lead. See, where they're showing there's a lot of people in those seats. Argentina should play all their games against bigger teams at Paris Stadium. First time beating the All Blacks and now the Wallabies. Here's BP. Yeah, they'll be hoping that they have more games there in the future. And Australia certainly won't be scheduling one there again, will they? It's going to be the penalty this time for Japan. I believe that is for offside against Samoa. This game is such a seesaw. Neither side putting their hand up and saying, we are going to win this game. Instead, both teams having it go back and forth. And I think someone's going to win it at about the 79th minute with the way that this game has developed. And Manu all day, currently with that 2-point lead. Just need to make sure that that discipline is strong throughout the last 8 minutes of the game. Downfield, decent enough kick there from the replacement, Arakia Matsuda. I believe both sides have made all of their changes now that I can see. And 8 minutes is just some guy. Yeah, it will feel like an eternity for Samoan supporters with that 2-point lead. Definitely with Japan having a lot more of the possession. Samoa, though, their line out is something they'll certainly want to work on. That will be an advantage, I believe, to Japan, or at least it should have been, as the man was taken out as he was falling down from the line out. Referee set play on, though. Japan in possession with Craig Miller hitting that ball up again. Going to the left-hand side now. It will be the replacement, Kakinaga, I should say. Don't be shy to smash the likes. The Kiwi Lads commentary says, Nate, anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We've got your IP Vixen. This is Ice Cartel. Ball's put high. Ed Fidel unable to get to it, but no one else was able to take the catch either. And Samoa now have got themselves the line out, but they have lost about 50% of their lineouts throughout this game, which is a lot more than they would have anticipated. That is just down to that pressure that we're seeing from Fakatava. And I was like, come on, boys. There's West Side. And now Lolly adrenaline from across the screen is a real come on, Samoa. Says NLAs. They just doing enough at the moment, but I feel like they still need that one more try because Japan now with the counter attack and chance right up the middle. Throwing the pass off, it was Osada, finds the hands of Fuki. All of the replacements working together. Now Jack Cornelison, 22 meters out, looking to sling this one out to the left. Kazuki Himeno taken down by his opposite number, Alamanda Matanga. It looks like he's got cramp at the moment, Matanga, but he's going to have to somehow get back to his feet to be able to help his side defend. Another big run from Japan. Slowly building meter after meter. Now it's the youngster. Matsushima finds his offload away to Osada, who was driven back by two Samoan defenders, but manages to break away from those tackle attempts. Moves back up to 20, but Samoa over the ball, and they win the penalty at a crucial time in this matchup. Go Manu Faamalosi, boys. You get a Manu Samoa, says Eliza. And imagine if Los Pumas win the Rugby World Cup, Argentina would be the first time reigning double world champs. And with the football too, I wonder what the betting odds would be for that, says BP. I know that Argentina are about 7th or 8th, I think, in the overall betting odds. The heart rate going up and down, says just some guy. Come on, Samoa. Says Samoa and Japan. United Nations team, go the Manu. Says Russell and Vamos. Samoa, let's go. Fantastic. Says username, but still 5 minutes remaining. And great breakdown turnover from Samoa. The perfect time to get it as well when Japan just started to look like they had a few more phases being put together. Christian Laliafano will be able to take his time to kick this one into touch. Ali Famawina, I think he just told the Samoan drinks man to get off the field. The nicest way to put it. In 4 minutes, says NLA's. And bro, I don't like how this game is going. I want Samoa to gain more points. I think everyone who's supporting Samoa does. They want to see one last try and a conversion. That's the thing. They need to convert. Because if they don't convert, then from there, there's a chance that Japan get themselves a converted try and draw this game. Which, to be honest, like both sides have played well enough at times to win this game. Both sides have played bad enough to lose it, though. That's going to be knocked down from Samoa. They say it goes forward and look backward to me. Bonus try, says Blues Nate. I don't think anyone's going to be walking around with the 5 points after this fixture. It's a real close game, back and forth for picking up points. I think a converted try would probably secure it. Yeah. If Samoa can score themselves a converted try, they should walk away with the victory here. But they no longer have the ball anymore. And for Amalosi, boys, says Sefo there. Now, 4 minutes remaining. The clock is still ticking over. It will be the scrum feed for Japan. An aspect of this game that they have struggled at just that little bit more than they would have normally liked to. Go the Manu, says Alice. And also agreed Samoa should have put this to bed. But too many mistakes and for me being passive than they normally are in the forwards. And for Amalosi, boys, says Susan there. Mistakes to be expected from the Manu with many new faces. True. Now 4 minutes remaining. Front row's gone down on this near side. Seems like it's going to be play on just for now, though. Now nice big run forward from Matsushima. That looked like a knockoff from Japan, and it is now. Unfortunately, that is about the 18th knock-on. If not, actually, no, that will be more than the 18th that we have had throughout the fixture. And I don't even know what the number is at this point for the amount that we have seen dropped throughout it. 3.5 minutes remaining in this fixture. And just knocking the ball on in the breakdown. Handling errors. There we go. 25 handling errors between these two sides. 13 against Samoa, 12 against Japan. The statement I just made about both sides have done enough to lose this game, that's the stat. Is time slow? Is my anxiety just kicking in? This time has frozen at the moment. Is it going to stay? There we go. It's gone up to 78 now. So we're getting there. But it could be the anxiety as well. I'm nervous, and I'm supposed to be impartial in these games. Eritara Emery puts the ball in now for Samoa. Going off to the right. It's another knock on. Who put butter on the ball? And another knock on from Japan. This slippery ball is like, is everyone oiled up their hands and And where is the ball, says Joseph? On the ground because they keep dropping it at this point. But at the moment, it will be a Japanese scrum, maybe about 40 meters out, a little bit closer. I'm so nervous. Oh, I've just realized Samoa are only 2 points ahead, which means if Japan get themselves a penalty here, they could kick for the 3 and it might be enough to win the game. But they haven't got one yet. They're at the scrum time. I'll be looking to use this one. Everyone's hands are sweating. Says it was Analyze. Yeah, it's that pressure. My hands are almost a little bit moist. I'm watching this one. Imagine winning with 15 handling errors. Yeah, it's imagine almost winning with 15 as well, though. That's the other side of things. Lawmated WD40 says username, and this game is a wild. Good though. And Japan drop goal to end it. There is a chance. They're about 35 meters out from the line. Damn conditions. Why are the ball being dropped so much? The conditions are fine. It's actually undercover. So there's no dew. There's no slipperiness. Just players putting the ball down quite a bit. Rains looks like it could stave the Aussies in the Ashes today. They should get some well-earned sleep. There's Canvas Beard. We may still pop in for the first little bit of the Ashes just to say hi and whatnot. But yeah, it does look like it's going to be quite rainy for most of the game. How much time left? 51 seconds remaining on the clock now. Like they've said, a penalty could win it for Japan. But the scrum feed now fight in the Alto. Oh, I thought he was going to blow the whistle there. But instead, they were just saying too much movement on that far side. The amount of balls being dropped, drop goal to win it would be fitting, says aisle 19. But one that hits the post and goes over. I feel like that's the only real way you can win with a drop goal is have it almost miss just to add that little bit more tension than we've already got. Final minute scrum for Japan, says Sai. And if the Samoan forwards play like this against Fiji, they're going to get smacked. Fiji set pieces, especially scrum, is better in my opinion. Only positive if Samoa can get better. I think Samoa's scrum has been very good in this game. Their line out, though, only winning about 7 from 14, does make it very tricky. Right, that's the full-time siren, which means now this will be the final play of the day for Japan. It's all about keeping possession. For Samoa, it's about just hanging on for that little bit longer, getting the ball back. This wouldn't even be ironic if the ball is dropped here and someone knocks it on to end the game. Gone down in the front row. Oh, they now thought about lifting the hand for the penalty, but it's going to be a scrum reset. Just kick it out, Samoa. I have the super chat up ready. Says Vixen. Are you actually going to do your super chat if Samoa win? Now I feel like Japan are just going to ruin it, aren't they? In the final moments. That's a different game for another day. And also my multis on the line. Let's go, Manu. See the west side and big love for Japan. And what's happening, Hamish? Another scrum reset. We've had 2 so far off this one. I think that was a confident nod from Kakinaga. He thinks he's going to get himself the penalty here against Tai Tuimanga. Now, here we go. The crowd chanting. 81 minutes through the game now, ladies and gentlemen. And Samoa still trying to defend the scrum. The ball's gone in. Push from Japan. They haven't got the penalty, but it will be the inside ball. To Kazuki Yamano. Alamanda Matanga almost on the ball, but Japan for now will keep possession. Going off to the left. Craig Miller almost dropped it, but just managed to regather before it hit the turf. Could have been a crucial drop for them in this one. But after 82 minutes now, Saito looks off to his side. Here we go. They're going out to the right for Japan. Shut down early, though. And for Samoa, you cannot afford to give away a silly penalty at this stage. They're up to 5 phases. Probably one of the more lucrative amounts that we have seen throughout either side. And this one, but there was Hilu, hit the ball up. Going off to the left-hand side, Japan, trying to keep it in the middle of the field. Oh, Eritara Enri got sat down. He's got a smile on his face, but I think that's because he's in La La Land at the moment after that big shot. Now Saito going off again. It's going to be now Fuki. Neck roll from Japan. And Samoa with that neck roll will take the tap. They will kick the ball out. And the Samoans will be victorious. The neck roll in a breakdown, I mentioned about the discipline of Samoa, but it's the discipline of Japan that has let them down in more ways than one. They did have that red card earlier on in the fixture, but that is the end of the contest. Samoa victorious over the Japanese, 24 points to 22. How can a game with 28 drop balls be so entertaining? But it just was. It was very intriguing. And Samoa with the neck rolls. I said, guys, says it was Marco, and congrats, Samoa. Said to beta of everything. Also, well done, Japan. Amalalava, Alefa Amalosi Samoa, says BP. And OMG, thanks, Gibby lads, says Latiania Beauty. Great calling. Rabs Jr. says, hold the iPhone blocker. Sorry, hold the phone blocker, it was. And Aaron freaked out like this in a while. And that is a massive confidence booster. And it now means that the game next week, we get to see Samoa play Fiji, both sides undefeated in this Pacific Nations Cup at this point. And Samoa, $685 in my TAB account, says Marco. And yes, but much love to Japan, says Susan. Yeah, Japan, there are certainly things that both sides will take out of this game that they need to improve on. Japan scrummaging, I think, could be a big factor for them. For Samoa, it's their lineouts, trying to get that right. And for both sides, it is handling errors. We have got, you actually did it. Fair play. But sticking to your word. But thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated for that donation. The Samoans victorious in this one, working up to 4 points on the board. And congrats to Samoa and also the Samoan flags from Sefu. And also could have went either way on to Fiji. Yep, next week it's going to be awesome to see how it goes. What a nail biter. Or nail biter. Leach must be feeling horrible, said Leandra. And the fellow who did the neck roll at the end as well, of course. And well done, Samoa. You took your chances. Great call, mate. Considering I couldn't watch it, I felt like I was, says 19. And also, that was so close, Rose, the unicorn. It's an insane match. Why was Leach sent off? It was a shoulder charge to the head of the number 8 of Samoa. And also, we have got the 100 nice one who says Marco Vonopol and shoulder charge to the head. And Samoa, Fiji, and Samoa. And thanks again for another great stream. Amy says, thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated. And yes, it's massively appreciated everyone being here for these streams for the Pacific Nations Cup. About 2 hours before the game, we learned that we could actually watch them here in New Zealand because we have been looking everywhere overseas trying to find the best chance of us being able to watch it. But yep, we will be back next week for some more action, better commentary than the official broadcast. Says BP, thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciate it, and thank you for the stream. Says Cy Hart and there as well. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Massive thank you to Ice Cartel and also to Vixen. Thank you very much for that donation, and thanks for the call. Says Vixen and there as well. And enjoy the 100 buckaroos on tin whistles and moon pies, says Nate Dog. Yeah. And Ashes coverage later tonight. That is the plan. It may be raining, but I believe I still want to start at 10 p.m. and then maybe just have a bit of an Ashes chat for 30 or so minutes while it's raining and then come back if they do get some play later on in the day. But we will be up. We will get that one probably scheduled at about 9 p.m. somewhere around there. But until then, we will also have a review of this game going up on the channel. Next time, post your PayPal because I know YouTube takes a cut, says Vixen. I have to find it. I have never had a donation on PayPal through YouTube. So yeah, it's somewhere deep in the computer somewhere. I think I've got a link for that PayPal account. But yeah, hugely appreciated, mate, for that donation. Massive cheers. Cheers, boss. Massive call for this match. And thanks, says Chris Sierra, and can't wait. Says Kitty Sommer, and thanks, Kiwi Lad. Says Ice Cartel and Bulla for the commentary. Says a Bulla, bro. But yeah, huge amount of handling errors. To summarize this game, it would be probably handling, but intense is another word that you could use to describe it. It went down to the wire. PayPal also takes 4% on the payment, which is a lot less than YouTube, though. I can tell you that right now. But yeah, nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We will be back a little bit later on with some cricket, but also the rugby all throughout next week. We've got the Rugby Championship, the Pacific Nations Cup, building up to that World Cup, which is not too far away. But thank you all very much for being here, and I will see you all for the next one.